ठाकुर दयार सागर हेदसे करुणा कोरी वैष्णव ठाकुर दयार सागर दिया पाद छाया शोध है अमाया दिया पाद छाया तुम्हार चरण दोरी छाया वेगदोमी छाया दोष शोधि क्षय गुण देवदासे सत्संग देव है हमारे बोझे संगीरा छे छाया सत्संग देव है हमारे बोझे संगीरा सत्संग देवा है हमारे कोशेती संगीरा एकाकी हमार नहीं पाया वाला हरिनाम संकीर्तन श्रद्धा बिंदु दिया तुम्हें कृपा करे श्रद्धा बिंदु दिया देह कृष्ण नाम धने देह कृष्ण नाम धने कृष्ण से तुम्हार कृष्ण दीपे पारो तुम्हारा शक्ति आचे कृष्ण कृष्ण बलिए भाई तावा पाचे पाचे कृष्ण कृष्ण बोले सरस्वती ठाकुर जैसी भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी प्रभुपादा जैसी भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी प्रभुपादा जय गौरा हरि संकीर्तन की अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की श्रील प्रभुपाद की ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपः कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरोः श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगणरघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनासहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सहगणललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च नमः। ॐ विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्तस्वामिन्निति नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषा शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे नमः। ॐ विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिसिद्धान्त सरस्वती इति नामिने श्रीवर्षवानवी देवी दायिताय कृपाब्धये कृष्णसम्बन्धविज्ञानदायिने प्रभवे नमः। माधुर्योज्वल प्रेमाढ्य श्रीरूपानुगभक्तिदा श्रीगौरकरुणाशक्ति विग्रहाय नमोस्तुते। नमस्ते गौरवाणी श्रीमूर्तये रुद्धिनतारिणे रूपानुगविरुद्ध अपसिद्धान्तद्वान्तहारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौरभक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। Very happy to be here at Navadvip Dham Boys here. The hall is full completely, packed with very bright faces of devotees with Vaikuntha dress, 90%. Very nice. So you are seeing one poster on the screen, isn't it? You see Narendra Modi ji has given a speech about Bhakti Saraswati Thakur and appreciated our Acharya. This is the 150th year we are celebrating. This is 150th appearance of Srila Bhakti Saraswati Thakur. See? Janmotsav ke upalakshya mein. They are celebrating in a big way. 1874 to 2024. Gaudiya mission is arranging. Today is a huge celebration all over India. Thousands and thousands of devotees are coming. See here, Bharat Mandapam in Nai Delhi. So they're going to be a big celebration. So, Bhakti Thakur ki. So I'll show you one movie. Part of it I'm going to show you. Sound will come and show you.
The jewel in the crown of the empire. Indeed, India was known the world over as a great civilization whose name was synonymous with sophistication and class. The British Raj wanted to make the people of India into a race of brown-skinned Englishmen that would be Indian in blood, but English in taste, in morals, in intellect, and in religion. This was Victorian and Edwardian India.
So what is he saying here? Macaulay made a statement that India is a very difficult nut to crack because people are very deep-rooted in their culture in this country. Although we have politically taken over this country, still the people are aligned with their own value system and character and moral and everything and their spirituality. And seems that they are like unchangeable practically. But we want to have an India, which will be like, just now you heard that what he said, isn't it? He says that they should be attracted to our, like women liberty and Also, the taste should be changed from Indian taste to British taste. Their dress code, wearing British type of dress and British type of culture. We should bring about that. If we can bring about the change, then converting the whole country to in Christianity would be very easy. That was their plan. Therefore, they started schools, they started hospitals, they uh, started changing the culture of the people.
Indeed, these were troubled times. The karmic reaction of decades, even centuries, of materialism was now taking its relentless toll. In an atmosphere of expanding empires, wars, natural disasters, political calamity, and all-round spiritual void, the world was clearly lacking the leadership and example of someone who knew the real purpose of the human form of life. Totalitarian war against all philosophical and theistic misconceptions. During the early part of the 20th century, there occurred a unique event in the spiritual history of modern India. In the remote village of Mayapur, on the banks of the sacred Ganga in West Bengal, there resided a distinguished personality who would, in due course, do more to help raise the consciousness of human civilization than that of any other person of his time. On March the 7th, 1918, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada, adorning the saffron robes of a mendicant, accepted the renounced order of life Tridandi Sannyas. He then raised the clarion call of Sri Krishna Sankirtan at Sridham Mayapur with Kartala Mridanga, that would eventually be heard in every town and village around the world. In so doing, Saraswati Thakur brought attention to the deep spiritual teachings of Krishna consciousness. He issued a universal challenge of totalitarian war against all philosophical and theistic misconceptions that cover the true identity of the soul. In the teachings of Saraswati Thakur, the only thing lacking in this material world is Krishna consciousness. The only real welfare work to be done is the distribution of Krishna consciousness, the prime benediction for humanity at large. The achievements of power, wealth, and fame are all temporary and lead to the perpetual suffering of the soul in the cycle of repeated birth and death. The Sankirtan movement, started by Saraswati Thakur from Sridham Mayapur, was the revival of the original Krishna Sankirtan movement of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in the 15th century. Through his preaching, Saraswati Thakur attracted to his mission many sincere members of the intelligentsia and social elite of Bengal. Together with his disciples, Saraswati Thakur led a second renaissance of the Krishna consciousness movement, establishing temples, defeating opposing philosophy, recruiting thousands of converts to the doctrine of divine love, and publishing ancient and modern spiritual texts in periodicals, books, and newspapers, and distributing them throughout India and abroad. From the time of his accepting Tridandi Sannyas in 1918 until
He said he was doing, even as a young man, his job was to bring out magazines like Sajjan Toshni you saw just now, and also writing books which were defeating all the false philosophies of impersonalism and voidism. At that time, there was also Brahmoism, Raja Ram Mohan Rai, and Arya Samaj's idea of only accepting yajna, not worshipping the deities. So many other philosophies were prevalent, and his books were specifically pointed to smash all the wrong understandings of God and establishing the truth. That's one thing it is said. He wrote books, he published magazines, he preached very vigorously, made hundreds and thousands of followers, not only in India. Many of the British people, they were influenced by his teachings. And he arranged meetings with them and sat with them. He gave them, even in the temple hall, he put chairs. Huh? Generally, nowhere it is heard of in India that he put a chair in the temple hall. Huh? He would arrange for the Viceroy and other British men to come and sit in chairs, and he would have conversation with them, talk with them, and explain to them Krishna consciousness in a very secular language. How there is one supreme God and all of us are his part and parcels. And aligning with him is actually dharma, and going against him is sin, adharma. And ultimate religion is not just go to the church and beg for bread. Ultimate religion is not to do business with God. Ultimate religion is to awaken love for God. Love God and love God with your heart and think of God 24/7. That is actually the pure love. But what Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu taught 500 years ago, he brought it down to even the British people to understand. And many of the British people were very influenced. I heard one true story of one fellow who was flying in a plane and the plane lost its control. And then the plane came gliding down and very rapidly it was about to come to the ground and like that it would be explode. And anybody who was sleeping will get up now. So, but aeroplane, before it collapsed, that fellow prayed that it was like a fighter aircraft. Fighter aircraft? Only one person. So he said, if I survive, I'll give my life to God. Like that he said. And then it collapsed in a forest. It landed in the water or somewhere. So there was, of course, serious damage. This fellow's whole body was full of, taken to hospital. He completely lost consciousness. A lot of, malampatti, everything. They put bandage and everything all over the body, fractures and everything. But then after 6 months to 1 year, his body was proper. He could get up and walk and move and speak and everything. So he went to he was in search of a person because now I have promised God that I'll give my body to him. Now my body has survived. So he went to one library and then he was searching for the books. There was one lady there, a librarian. She asked, what book are you searching? He said, I am searching for a book, some spiritual book, which I can read and get convinced. I want to give my life, but I don't know who is a person who can give me 24 hours engagement. So he said he was a Christian. He was from abroad. So I went to many churches. They said, Sunday you come, we'll give you some engagement. But Monday to Saturday, we don't have much activity. You do your own thing. He said, I have nothing to do. I want to give all my time to God. And one Christian told him that if you want to give all your time to God, you should go to India. That's the only country where people 24/7, they have no other business. They are determined to go back to God. So therefore, I am searching in the library reading books. So if you can tell me someone. So that lady said, oh, I know one person who can help you with that. And then she sent him to Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur. She became his disciple. That fellow became Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur's disciple. So he could give such an engagement. One man asked him, Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur, you are bringing this magazine, Sajjan Ocean, every week you are bringing. What is the need for that? You can make it once in a month or once in 3 months. The Sajjan Ocean magazine. Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur said, the news from Goloka is so exhaustive. Even every minute I can print a magazine, but you have no capacity to read. Therefore, I am not printing, he said. So, he was bringing everyday articles, publishing about the spiritual world, news from spiritual world. It is said the letters that would come for him would be 2 to 3 bullock carts. Every week, the post office would be overflooding. Nowadays, we have email and everything. In those days, there was snail mail. And the post office people were complaining that this fellow gets so many letters. It becomes difficult for us, tedious to handle. And he would give replies to all those things also again. And that would be sent back. And when he would travel in trains in every station, when the train would stop, there would be thousands of people would come to the station and then they would want to hear from him.
Departure from this world in 1937, his mission, known as the Gaudiya Math, flourished under his guidance. Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada was born in Orissa at Jagannath Puri on February 6, 1874, as the seventh child of Bhaktivinoda Thakur and Srimati Bhagavati Devi. Bhaktivinoda Thakur was a government official and was in charge of the Jagannath temple in Puri. In his spiritual life, Bhaktivinoda was a great pioneer of the Krishna consciousness movement. At the time when the teachings of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had all but been lost or distorted,
sitting at Tota Gopinath, you know who is the one who is reading Bhagavatam? That is Gadadhar Pandit. And along with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, next to him is sitting Nityananda Prabhu. And behind Gadadhar Pandit and behind Nityananda Prabhu is Advaitacharya Prabhu with beard. You saw that? Yeah. And then Rup Sanatana are also sitting. You find there is behind Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, there is Govinda. Yeah. Actually, you find all these great personalities, they would assemble together to study Srimad Bhagavatam daily in Tota Gopinath, in Jagannath Puri.
by unscrupulous persons such as the Saki Beckers. Bhaktivinoda began publishing numerous papers, books, establishing the pure as the seventh child of Bhaktivinoda Thakur and Srimati Bhagavati Devi. Bhaktivinoda Thakur was a government official and was in charge of the Jagannath temple in Puri. In his spiritual life, Bhaktivinoda was a great pioneer of the Krishna consciousness movement. At the time when the teachings of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had all but been lost or distorted by unscrupulous.
Thakur's main contribution is this, that Bhaktivinoda Thakur saw that after Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, completed his Srila pastimes, who took over after that as a successor? The six Goswamis. Correct, no? Sri Rupa Sanatana Bhatta Raghunatha, Sri Jiva Gopala Bhatta, Rasa Raghunatha. And they were all very, very powerful also. They propagated very wonderfully. And each of them, like for example, Jiva Goswami had three very brilliant students. Who were they? Narottamadas Thakur, Srinivas Acharya, and Shyamananda Pandit. These three personalities. So they all went to, Odisha, Bengal, and they propagated the Krishna consciousness further very nicely. But then down the line, what happened after that? A lot of Apasampradayas came. Apasampradaya means deviant, deviant sects. Like 13 of them. One of them is shown here in the video. These are called the Saki Beki. Saki Beki means these are actually men only, but they wear sari like you are seeing here. And they are keeping tulasi on their head and they are dancing. So these people pretend to be like gopis. Men who behave like gopis. Actually, Shastras never say that men should wear sari like gopis. They say you adopt a manjari bhava. Bhava means supposed to be in the heart. Advanced devotees would adopt the gopi bhava in the heart, not externally displaying. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur saw that in this way these people are making the philosophy cheap, and many of them are falling prey to illicit sex. And the dharma became, Vaishnava dharma became condemnable at that time because people became unruly. In the name of religion, many people were wearing Babaji dress. Babaji dress means just white dhoti like this you wear. White dhoti, and then you grow a long beard and long moustache and long hair, and then claiming to be a very great Babaji, practicing in seclusion. They were falling down with women and things like that. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur was shocked that the Vaishnava Dharma is not being understood by people. It is being misused. Sometimes religion goes into the hands of wrong people, correct, no? Non-genuine people. So then Bhaktivinoda Thakur worked very hard also. But he understood that these people, to stop these people, I require a son who will be a ray of Vishnu, who will be very mighty, very powerful. So then Bhaktivinoda Thakur was born. And one of the things that Bhaktivinoda Thakur did was to immediately introduce Varnashrama, which means he said, Babaji Vesh, people wear white and they are doing all nonsense. So let me introduce Brahmacharya and Sannyas. These two things he started ashrama. Because according to Vedas, there are four orders: Brahmachari, Grihastha, Vanapras, Sannyas. So then Bhaktivinoda Thakur himself took sannyas, and he also had brahmachari students. And people understood, if somebody is wearing saffron, he's a brahmachari, and somebody is carrying danda, he's a sannyasi, and they can't indulge with women, they can't do wrong things. And they are observable, and they have to strictly adhere to the standards of the matha. And they will stay together in matha. And why Bhaktivinoda Thakur did this? In the past, if you go to Vrindavan, If you want to be a sadhu, you just take one stainless steel dabba with you, and you have one stick with you to drive away the monkeys. And you have a cloth which you wear as a turban. Or in the night when you're sleeping, you spread the cloth and sleep. And if you have a stainless steel box, the early morning, they would get milk of the cow, they would drink. Later on, they would put roti sabji in that only. After finishing prasad, they will store water in that. Night while going to sleep, they'll use it as a pillow also. Sadhus are very simple life like that. And you have a stick to drive away dogs and monkeys and all. And you have one cloth, that's all. Sadhus lived like that in those days. Now imagine if any of you want to be a sadhu like that in Vrindavan, living alone, is it easy? Is it practical? It's very difficult. So Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur said, I will make a matha and build concrete buildings where there'll be rooms, there'll be library, there'll be a temple. And then any youngster, anybody wants to dedicate his life for studying and practicing and preaching this mission. And we should create facility and offer to the youngsters. Like that Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur started. He said, look at the colleges, they have laboratories. They have got huge buildings, infrastructure. They are putting crores of rupees to teach, Jada Vidya, mundane knowledge. Correct, no? What they give in the college? They teach about earth, water, fire, air, ether, mind, intelligence, ego. Correct, no? They don't teach anything beyond that. And the earth you study in the solid mechanics or theory of machines. Water you study in hydraulics and fluid machinery. Fire you study, you study in heat and mass transfer. Or air and gas you study in turbo machinery and thermodynamics and all that. And ether you study in acoustic physics, sound and all that. And man, buddhi, ahankar you study in psychology, psychiatry. Correct, no? Courses on counseling and all that. But beyond that, is there any knowledge about soul in the colleges? There's knowledge about love of God? No. Therefore, you find so many students are committing suicide. So many are degraded in character and habits. So Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur said, just as the karmis, the non-devotees are creating facility for teaching mundane knowledge, which is finished at the time of death. Again, you start with Baba Black Sheep, next life. But we will arrange a facility for teaching spiritual knowledge. And just as in the mundane field also there are authorized standards, isn't it? Which one has to abide by. Similarly, Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur said, in religion also we will make a pakka standards, what is correct religion and what is cheating religion. People will know the difference between the two. And then people will reject bogus religion and adopt the correct religion. So then he instituted this ashrama for brahmachari, grihastha. How should a grihastha live? How should vanaprastha live? How should sannyasi live? So all the saki beki, these fellows are called saki beki, wearing dress like a saki. They were all driven out. Very soon Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur established very powerfully.
Persons, such as the Saki Bekis, Bhaktivinoda began publishing numerous pages, journals and books, establishing the pure teachings of Sri Chaitanya. By his personal character, he restored dignity to the Gaudiya Vaishnava community. Bhaktivinoda prayed fervently to Lord Jagannath to kindly send him someone who would be capable of preaching the message of Sri Chaitanya. Upon the birth of his seventh child, Bhaktivinoda realized after observing a series of divine events that his newborn son was indeed the answer to his prayers. Accordingly, Bhaktivinoda named his son Bimala Prasad, meaning the mercy of Lord Jagannath. His son receiving the blessings of Lord Jagannath during the annual Rath Yatra festival when he was only 5 months old was noted by Bhaktivinoda as a direct confirmation of the divinity of his son. A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada shares with us the memory of this event.
When my spiritual master appeared at Jagannath Puri, he was the son of a very big government office, Bhaktivinoda Thakur. He was
What do you want? Why is coming to that?
magistrate, and in those days the magistrate is a big officer in the government, practically next to governor. And Bhaktivinoda Thakur was in charge of the Jagannath temple. So there was Radheshyamdas festival, and the car was passing in front of Bhaktivinoda Thakur's house the car stops before his house, and at that time, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, a child in the lap of his mother, the mother took the opportunity of rising on the car. He was magistrate's wife, so he had the facility. Immediately, people gave her a way to go on the top of the car and place the child on the lotus feet of Jagannath, and there were many garlands. One garland fell upon him. Bhaktisiddhanta, blessing.
Bhaktivinoda Thakur moved his family to Calcutta the same year as Saraswati Thakur's birth, and later, in 1881, Bhaktivinoda constructed Bhakti Bhavan, the family's residence and place of bhajan. While digging the foundation for the house, Bhaktivinoda found a Kurma Shalagram Shrila. He then placed 7-year-old Saraswati Thakur in charge of the daily worship of the Shalagram, which still remains at Bhakti Bhavan. Saraswati Thakur was indeed an exceptional personality.
As a small boy, he was gifted a deity by his father, which is Kurma deity. So Kurma deity represents stability in spiritual life. Just like in Samudramanthan Leela, when the Mandara Parvat was shaking. So at that time, Lord came as what avatar? Kurma avatar. And he gave the foundation, base, on which the mountain was kept. So it became stable. So that was the deity his father gave him to worship.
A keen interest in spiritual life. By the age of 7, he was assisting his father in proofreading the Sajjanatoshini, a monthly spiritual journal.
So he was assisting his father at the age of what age? He was a 7-year-old boy, and he was assisting his father in proofreading the magazine Sajjanatoshini. He's telling that. At the age of 7, he memorized all the 700 shlokas as a small boy of Bhagavad Gita.
That same year, he received Harinam initiation with Tulsi beads and Narasingha mantra from Bhakti Vinod. As a primary student at the Sri Rampur Christian Missionary School, Saraswati Thakur quickly mastered his general studies. Later, in 1885, while under the tutelage of Pandit Mahesh Chandra Chudamani and Pandit Sundarlal, he excelled in Sanskrit, mathematics and Vedic astrology. He was thus awarded the honorific title of Siddhanta Saraswati, meaning one whose knowledge and scholarship are blessed by the goddess of learning. That title was to remain with him for life.
So he studied the Surya Siddhanta, and he got the Siddhanta Saraswati title because he was such an expert in astrology and astronomy. He became so he got the Surya Siddhanta title was given to him. It's not given to any student. It is given only to somebody who is excelling in that field. And he also learned Sanskrit from an authorized teacher and mathematics also.
In 1887, Bhaktivinoda Thakur was posted in government service at Krishnanagar. During that time, he began visiting Navadvip town. On one such visit to Navadvip, Bhaktivinoda was staying at the Rani Dharamshala when he had a vision of Yogapit, the birth site of Sri Chaitanya. One Saturday evening, Bhaktivinoda was sitting on the roof of the Dharamshala in Navadvip. Across the Ganga, in the direction of Mayapur, Bhaktivinoda saw an effulgent glow. Within that divine effulgence appeared the Adbhut Mandir, a wonderful temple surrounded by light. Bhaktivinoda was utterly amazed. The following Saturday, Bhaktivinoda went to the area of Mayapur, where at night he again had a wonderful vision of the Adbhut Mandir. He spent the next day wandering all over the area. The elderly locals told him that this was indeed the location of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's birth. They pointed out an extensive mound covered with tulsi plants as the actual site of the Lord's appearance. However, in Navadvip, the findings of Bhaktivinoda were opposed by caste Brahmanas, who claimed that the birth site of Sri Chaitanya was actually Prachin Mayapur in modern Navadvip town. But according to Bhaktivinoda's research, utilizing old maps of Ganga Govinda Singh and authentic manuscripts of Chaitanya Bhagavat, Bhakti Ratnaka, and Navadvip Parikram Padat.
So this is about the location of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's birthplace. So, what had happened was caste Brahmins had one location where they would show the birthplace of Lord Chaitanya and they'll make money with that, collecting donations for that kind of thing they were doing. But Bhaktivinoda Thakur got a vision of actual birthplaces in which place. As you saw that it was shown, isn't it? And that was confirmed by Jagannathdas Babaji. Jagannath Babaji lived for 148 years. So his servant Bihari used to carry him on a basket. So his body was completely like they have seen that in the photo. Jagannath Babaji, this one. He used to sit in the basket and then his servant used to carry him. So when he was taken to that particular spot, he jumped out of the basket and started dancing, even in that old age. And he said, oh, this is the same place where Lord Chaitanya appeared, he said. So it became reconfirmed. Bhaktivinoda Thakur got a vision which became confirmed by Jagannath Babaji in the same parampara. So, of course, the caste Brahmins thought that if original birthplace is found out, then where they are making business will be lost. They protested.
He was certain that Mayapur was located on the eastern bank of the Ganga. He also discovered a Sri Chaitanya. The aged Babaji, who was more than 120 years old at that time, had to be carried in a basket wherever he went. However, when Jagannath Das Babaji was brought to the spot discovered by Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he became overwhelmed with ecstasy and jumped from his basket, shouting, "Ettonimai Janmabhumi! Ettonimai Janmabhumi!" This is indeed the birthplace of Sri Chaitanya. Thus, from both an empirical and spiritual point of view, the place of Sri Chaitanya
in the Western
Babaji and Gorkishore Das Babaji. Sometimes dress himself or his male followers as gopis or saki beggars. Saraswati Thakur found Radha Raman Charan's kirtan deviations and imitations to be against the principles of Sri Chaitanya. All these deviant practices were firmly protested by Saraswati Thakur, who preached pure devotional kirtan. In 1905, Saraswati Thakur travelled to South India, where he met the head priest of the Ramanuja Sampradaya at Sri Purandadura. Together, they discussed the Vaishnava order of Tridandi Sannyas that had been in effect for several thousand years since the time of Vishnu Swami. It was clear to Saraswati Thakur from their discussions that Tridandi Sannyas was an accepted part of Vaishnava.
And then it goes.
Saraswati Thakur fell deep in 1918. Thus, he became known as Tridandi Goswami Sri Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati. He then established his preaching headquarters nearby Yogapit at Sri Chaitanya Math, where he installed deities of Sri Sri Guru Gauranga Gandharvika Giridhari. The Bhagavad printing press was set up at Chaitanya Math, and the presses worked constantly preaching the message of
the preaching contribution of Bhaktivinoda Thakur. It's unheard of in India that Vaishnava Acharya gets a printing press from Cleveland, Ohio, USA. So when my spiritual master, Ranath Maharaj, went to Sri Chaitanya Math, which is close to Yogapid, so he saw this printing press, and in that it is written there, Cleveland, Ohio. From there he imported this machine. Who? Bhaktivinoda Thakur, to print the books, spiritual books, and distribute it. So Ranath Maharaj was so pleased to see that, how Bhaktivinoda Thakur started preaching in such a powerful way involving technology. In those days when technology was not so developed, even he had a car, also a limousine car, taking the books and distributing the books, even in 1920, 1930. And the cars became prominent in India only after 1950, 1960. Even that time they used to put coal and heat the coal and, that kind of thing car they had. So, but Bhaktivinoda Thakur, any technology came, he was the first one to use it. You can see that. So, this is the printing press, first printing press. So, if you see the logo of Gaudiya Math, one side you will find lamp and bell, which represents Pancharatri Vidhi. Like you do Arati with the lamp and bell. Other side you will find a Mridangam and a printing press, which represents Brihad Mridanga. If you beat Mridanga only, you can hear in a room. But if you have a printing press and publish books and distribute, the sound of the spiritual sound can be heard all over the world. That was his plan.
Chaitanya. That same year, a house was rented at Altadanga Junction Road in Calcutta, and a flurry of preaching and Sankirtan activities began. Many educated and influential people of Calcutta, such as Jagat Bandhu Datta and Sakhi Charan Rai, came to the Altadanga house to hear the lectures of Saraswati Thakur, and later became his initiated disciples. The place of preaching was called Bhakti Vinod Asana, meaning the place of the conception of Bhakti Vinod. Soon thereafter, he awarded Tridandi Sannyas to Sri Jagadish Bhakti Pradeep, a disciple of Bhakti Vinod Thakur, and conferred upon him the title Bhakti Pradeep Tirtha. Tridandi Sannyas is the lifelong vow of unconditional service to the Supreme Lord, with body, mind, and words.
Taking sannyas, yeah. See, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, at the age of 24, he took sannyas. Lord Chaitanya had a widowed mother and a beautiful wife who was also submissive. So Prabhupada says, his name was Nimai Pandit, you all know, correct? His name was Nimai Pandit. So Nimai Pandit was socially also very successful. How many of you have heard about the civil disobedience movement he started against Chandkazi, who was protesting against Kirtan? How many of you heard about that? Correct, no? Yeah. So as a young man, he could generate thousands of people on a procession. So he was socially very successful. And family-wise, his wife was very beautiful and submissive and cooperative. No problem at home. And his mother was a widow. So he has all the reason to stay at home. But what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu did? What did he do? At the age of 24, he took sannyas, the picture I showed you. So Tridandi sannyas he took. So same manner, Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur also practiced and also made many disciples into great sannyasis.
The deities of Sri Sri Gaura Vinod Ananda were installed at Bhakti Vinod Asana in Calcutta, and the spiritual institution for the widespread propagation of the Sankirtan movement under the name Gaudiya Math officially started. In 1921, the annual Navadvip Mandal Parikram began from Yogapith, and thousands of pilgrims and devotees attended. In 1924, the first Vyasa Puja, celebrating the 50th appearance day anniversary of Saraswati Thakur, was held at the Gaudiya Math in Calcutta. In 1925, during the Navadvip Mandal Parikram, Saraswati Thakur and his disciples were physically attacked by an angry mob of caste-conscious Brahmins, pundits, and hired thugs in Navadvip.
Very amazing, you see. In 1925, when he was taking thousands of disciples to the Holy Dham, the caste Brahmins became envious. Why? Because not only Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur, even Haridas Thakur also preached the love of God. He said, you just chant the holy name and worship the deity of Krishna and purify your heart and go back to God. And on the other hand, the caste Brahmins wanted to, do some puja part and everything, and collect some dakshina. Correct, no? And they were also keeping many temples in their custody. When people come, they have to pay the donation, and they have to put money in the hundis, and they have to bow down to Brahmins, catch their feet. So those kind of, fanatical Brahmins were there. Now the fanatical Brahmins saw that now Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur is leading a mission where thousands of people are going and we don't have followers. He has got big following. So some of the followers of those caste Brahmins were throwing stones. Just see.
At that time, Vinod Vihari Das, later to become Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Maharaj, performed the heroic act of exchanging dress with Saraswati Thakur and diverting the mob while Saraswati Thakur was taken to safety. That year, the Vyasa Puja of Saraswati Thakur was held in Cuttack in Orissa, and he was given the title Prabhupada, meaning at whose feet many masters had taken shelter. 1926 and 1927 saw the publication of the daily Bengali newspaper Nadia Prakash and the monthly English journal The Harmonist. Not a day went by, nor a moment in a day, where Saraswati Thakur was not preaching and propagating the message of Sri Chaitanya. He gave much importance to the publication of Krishna-conscious literature and called the printing press the Brihat Mridanga. Saraswati Thakur often said that the Kartala Mridanga and Sankirtan can be heard nearby, but the printing press can be heard around the world. In the course of 18 years, from 1918 to 1937, Saraswati Thakur published important literatures of the six Goswamis, such as Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, Hari Bhakti Vilas, and Sakriya Sadipika. He published the Bhagavad Gita commentaries of Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur and Baladev Vidyabhushan. He also published Vrindavandas Thakur's Chaitanya Bhagavat, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami's Chaitanya Charitamrita, all the works of Bhaktivinoda Thakur, the 5th chapter of Brahma Samhita, and Sri Vyasadev's Srimad Bhagavad. Saraswati Thakur's writing and publishing was indeed monumental. During these years, Saraswati Thakur also established over 64 missionary centers in India and abroad, and installed deities of Mahaprabhu and Radha Krishna in all the main Gaudiya maths, such as Sri Sri Gandharvika Giridhari at Chaitanya Math in Mayapur, Sri Sri Vinod Ananda at Bhagwazar Math in Kolkata, Sri Sri Radha Damodar at Krishna Chaitanya Math in Vrindavan, Sri Sri Vinod Madhava at Purushottam Gaudiya Math in Jagannath Puri, Sri Sri Gopi Gopinath at Brahma Gaudiya Math in Alanath, and Sri Sri Nayanabhirama at Ramananda Gaudiya Math on the Godavari River. During this time, Saraswati Thakur also conferred sannyas on a total of 21 disciples and sent them out to preach the message of Sri Chaitanya. Some of his prominent sannyasi disciples were Sri Bhakti Pradeep Tirtha Maharaj, his first sannyasi disciple, Sri Bhakti Hriday Ban Maharaj, his leading preacher in Europe, Sri Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Dev Goswami Maharaj, the guardian of pure devotion, Sri Bhakti Vivek Bharati Maharaj, a great preacher of Srimad Bhagavatam, and Sri Bhakti Vichar Yajavara Maharaj, the last initiated sannyas disciple of Saraswati Thakur. After moving the deities from Ultadanga Junction Road to the newly constructed temple at Bagh Saraswati Thakur opened the first theistic diorama exhibition in Mayapur during the 1930 Gaurapanima festival.
So till now you heard about Bhaktivinoda Thakur printing and publishing books like Nectar of Devotion, Bhagavad Gita commentary of Baladev Vidyabhushan and Vishwanath Thakur. He published Srimad Bhagavatam, Chaitanya Bhagavat, all those different literatures. So one of his major contributions is making the Vaishnava literatures available for the masses in big number with printing press. That's one of the things I've been showing you here. Now, another thing, contribution you heard till now is he made 64 mathas, where he kept his disciples. He gave sannyas to more than 25 people, it is said, isn't it? And he sent them to different places to open the mathas and expand the preaching, very far and wide. So, bringing people to the point of sannyas is not a very easy thing. Preaching to youngsters and bringing them to the point of dedicating their lives and propagating the mission. That was one of his contributions. And another contribution here comes is diorama show. Like what you are seeing is a diorama. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Ramananda Rai. So like this, he had arranged hundreds of dioramas, very colorfully painted, depicting the life and teachings of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And also Krishna Leela also. Krishna Leela, Chaitanya Leela, all these things. Now we are seeing many dioramas in our Pune temple also. We have Narasimha Leela and we have Prahalad Narasimha Leela and we have Dhruva's Leela and spiritual world. But you can imagine in those days, he was one of the first persons to come up with this innovative type of preaching. So his idea was, people don't read the books, they don't get into study of the Shastra easily. But if you keep the dioramas, people like to come and watch. Cultural attraction is there in people. They bring their families, friends, children, they watch, and then people ask, who is this lying down and who is massaging the feet? Then they will hear the Leela of Chaitanya Leela. In this way, people's attraction to the Lord will be awakened. Then they will study the scriptures. In this way, he came up with innovative ideas.
The dioramas depicted the pastimes of Lord Chaitanya and the principles of devotional service. In 1932, Saraswati Thakur travelled to South India again, where he preached the Sankirtan movement of Sri Chaitanya and established the worship of Sri Chaitanya's lotus feet in several important holy places, such as Mangalagiri, the place of Lord Narasingha, and Kovur, where Sri Chaitanya met Ramananda Rai. Travelled with a few of his disciples as far south as Mysore and Uti. At Uti, he wrote the forewords to Sri Brahma Samhita and Sri Krishna Chaitanya by Professor Nishikant Sanyal. At Mysore, he was the honoured guest in the palace of the king Krishna Raj Gaudiya. During his stay in Mysore, Saraswati Thakur lectured on the principles of Srimad Bhagavatam at the Maharaja's Sanskrit College and visited several of the local temples such as Nanjangud and Sri Rangapatna on the banks of the Kaveri River.
What is that Maharaja's name? He said one of the Maharaja invited him to explain Bhagavatam to him, so he spent a few days explaining Bhagavatam to him.
Saraswati Thakur was keen to preach Krishna consciousness to Westerners. In his travels throughout India, he sometimes discussed philosophy and religion with persons like the German scholar Dr. Magnus Hirschfeld, Sir William Malcolm Haley, Governor of the United Provinces, and Professor Albert Southers from Ohio State University. Saraswati Thakur often made elaborate arrangements for Westerners to come to Mayapur to hear the sublime teachings of Sri Chaitanya.
See, this is another big contribution. Not only he preached to the Indians and made sannyasis, but he also preached to the Westerners, like the different big people's names he took just now. See, so many of these Western personalities are surrounding him because they found his presentations very pure and convincing, and they were open-minded, and many of them actually became his disciples also. They preached.
From South India, Saraswati Thakur returned to Bengal, where he laid the foundation stone at the house of Advaita Acharya in Mayapur. The Bhaktivinoda Institute, an educational foundation for the residents of Sridham Mayapur, was also opened that same year, and many students were admitted. The first Vrajamandal Parikram began in 1932, and Saraswati Thakur and his disciples circumambulated Vrajamandala during the month of Kartik. Saraswati Thakur arrived in Vrindavan by car with many of his non-Brahmin disciples. This created quite a stir among the Kaska Swamis of Vrindavan and all the main temples.
So the non-Brahmin disciples, he exalted them to the position of sannyasis and very advanced devotees. So that was protested against by Brahmins. Brahmins wanted to proclaim that if you are a Brahmin, then only you have adhikar to be in the temple and then lead the society and everything. Now Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur took even Shudras and people who are lower and made them exalted Vaishnavas. And that turned out, that kindled the envy of the Brahmins.
The doors in protest. Only the Radha Raman temple opened its doors and welcomed Saraswati Thakur and his disciples. At the Radha Raman temple, Saraswati Thakur commented that he was getting the darshan of all the deities of Vrindavan in Radha Raman.
Why he said that?
So this is the very, I want to tell that this is the very close relation with the Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati and our great-grandfather Madhusudan Goswami. And they have together, they have preached together all over the India. At that time, the Arya Samajis, they were very powerful. And they want to criticize about that deity worship and our Gaudiya Vaishnava cult. They don't accept that Mahaprabhu was the incarnation of Radha and Krishna. They have said that only the Mahaprabhu was the great personality, but not the incarnation of Radha and Krishna. But our great-grandfather and Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati, they have proof with the scriptures that Mahaprabhu was the incarnation of Radha and Krishna. And they have give the challenge to Arya Samajis. And they have defeated that. And they have accepted that Mahaprabhu was the incarnation of Radha and Krishna. So, at that time, that all the temples, they have allowed Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati. After that, he can visit all these Gaudiya Vaishnava temples and other temples. And he has visited and he has given the respect from the temples and the local Gaudiya Vaishnava sadhus.
Yeah, you understood, no?
Saraswati Thakur established.
So when he went with Parikrama with thousands of disciples, only Radharaman temple they opened the doors. And the other temple said, these are all deviant followers, they thought. But later, after Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur established, based on the scriptures, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu being Radha and Krishna, and defeating Arya Samajis and everybody, after that all the temples opened in Vrindavan. Which means he is not just a publisher of books, he is not just a preacher who makes followers, but he also has defeated falsities and misconceptions, and also preached even to the people from the West and British people British leaders and people like that. That is the
House
contribution.
for the residence of his gurus, Bhaktivinoda Thakur and Gaurakishoras Babaji. He said that he and his disciples should only stay there to serve the higher Vaishnavas, and that their place of residence should be at Govardhan Hill, a little distance away. Saraswati Thakur always cautioned his disciples not to intrude upon the higher Leela of Krishna. First deserve, then desire. Do not try to go to the higher plane with your impurities. First, purify your heart with Nam Sankirtan, the holy name of Krishna. Unlike other so-called gurus and Siddha Purushas of his time, Saraswati Thakur did not allow his disciples to discuss the details of Krishna's amorous love with the gopis, although Saraswati Thakur did indeed have many highly qualified disciples. He was particularly disturbed if he heard that any disciple was discussing Rasa Leela. Saraswati Thakur also did not allow his disciples to read such books as Gita Govinda, Ujjvala Nilamani, or Govinda Lilamrita. Saraswati Thakur's caution was Matala Harijana Vishaya Range, Pujala Ragpata Gaurava Banga. Always worship the path of Ragamana, spontaneous devotion. Do not rush ahead. Keep yourself a little distant and below. One who transgresses these instructions will be cast down. That was the motto of Gaudiya Math.
You understood it? What he's saying? How many of you know the difference between Vaidhi Bhakti and Raga Bhakti? You heard about it. 2 words. Okay, I'll tell you. Vaidhi Bhakti means regulative devotional service, which we are all doing at the moment. And Raga Bhakti means spontaneous devotional service. Now, what is the difference? The Vaidhi Bhakti is done by those who have to be ordered by Guru. Rise early in the morning, do Mangalarti, chant the holy name, recite Srimad Bhagavatam, go out and distribute books. So when order comes, then only we will do. Otherwise, spontaneously, we don't have inclination. Because there is order of Guru and there is fear of death, then we may practice. That is called Vaidhi Bhakti. Vaidhi word comes from Vidhi. Vidhi means? Yeah? Huh? No. Vidhi means rules and regulations. So the rules and regulations. Follow 4 regulative principles. Rise early in the morning, like that. That's called Vaidhi Sadhana Bhakti. And Raganuga Sadhana Bhakti means, the word Raga means attachment or affection for Krishna. Once the love for Krishna is awakened in the heart, the Raga is awakened, then nobody needs to order you. And you will not do because scriptures are saying or Guru is saying. You will do it naturally flowing, with naturally flowing attraction. Just like in typing also, initially A, S, D, F, G, F, semicolon, L, K, J, H, J, like that, you type slowly, right? Later on, you get blind touch, we call it. We can type like that. Even without seeing, closing your eyes, you can type. So Raga Bhakti is like that. Spontaneously, you can practice Bhakti. You will jump from your bed in the morning singing a song. You want to take darshan of the deity. You want to chant the holy name. You relish. That's called Raga Bhakti, we call it. Like a small child, as a toddler, mother has to escort the child. But once you grow up, now nobody is escorting you. You are walking on your own. Like that, Raga Bhakti is like that. So, in Raga Bhakti, one is beyond the stage of Nishta, Ruchi, Asakti, Bhava, Prema and all. So, some disciples may want to imitate Raga Bhakti and cry tears and, shake their body and say that I am a lover of God. So, he didn't allow such pretension. He condemned it very much. And he told, be very careful. Don't pretend to be a great devotee. Go step by step. And therefore, he didn't allow them to read very advanced books. You go from the basics. That is his point.
Why people were objecting? Why they were objecting? Because he was distorting the teachings? Or he was pointing out the distortion? After all, if you really want to take and put in a nutshell what he taught about the Gaudiya Vaishnavism was, we should practice Gaudiya Vaishnavism without any hypocrisy. This is what he says. I'm the enemy of hypocrisy, especially when it comes in the name of Gaur. This was really what he amplified. This point, and there was a lot of it, and therefore there was a lot of objection. And then when they object, he roared louder. They used to call him Mr. Sepul Singha Guru, Lion Guru. Like a lion, he roared back louder. He was not about to be intimidated by any such objections. Yeah, then they would cite the philosophy and question his initiation and this and so many things. Doctrines came up in opposition to him. So many fine, detailed points, ignoring his emphasis on being the enemy of hypocrisy, and emphasis on a serving disposition, rather than just collecting information about Radha.
See, two things he's saying. He was enemy of hypocrisy, and he always wanted his followers to adopt a serving disposition. Instead of serving disposition, we want to dance with Krishna like a gopi, like wearing the dress of a gopi. But if you tell him to do, wash the pots, he will say, I have no time. So he condemned that. Don't try to pretend to be a great soul. Have a serving disposition, and he was the enemy of hypocrisy.
Krishna Lila, actually cultivating self-sacrifice. And this is what this monk order was about, self-sacrifice. Send somebody who could sit happily in the dham, in the holy place, and get chapatis and rice and chant Hare Krishna. No, send them to England with nothing. Send them to America with nothing, these monks. Let them live only on their faith in Krishna. Krishna will provide. Faith in the name of Krishna. That's what my Guru Maharaj did on his order. And see what happened from that. Who has life, he said. That person can preach, can explain these things. They had life. They were giving life.
Many times you send a devotee telling, go to the college and preach. He will immediately will ask, who will be my assistant? And which is the flat where we can start a voice center? And how much money will you give me? Can you give me a car? People ask like that. But Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur said, go only with your dhoti. Maybe kurta is also not available. Go only with that. Go to, that too not to some college in Hyderabad. He's saying go to a place in London. Go to America. Go only with one commodity, faith in Krishna. That's all. And if you are in a mood of seva bhav, then Krishna will send everything, whatever you need for preaching. That is his teaching.
Gaudiya Vaishnavism. We can embrace Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur and live in Gaudiya Vaishnavism. Reject him and die to what it's all about, no matter how much information we may have about it, how well we can speak theoretically about it.
Yeah, this is another point is saying that, he did not appreciate empty scholarship without seva bhav and true realization. Correct, no? See, true realization is there even in illiterate. Somebody may be illiterate like Gaura Kishore Das Babaji. He is not very learned. He was having only 2 books, Prema Bhakti Chandrika and Sharanagati. That he would keep on singing songs from that. And he was not like erudite scholar, but Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur accepted him as his guru, which goes to show that because he understood that this guru is a realized personality. So he appreciated true, genuine, priceless realizations that comes in the heart of a sincere practitioner, and he did not appreciate empty scholarship, theoretical philosophers. He didn't appreciate.
1933, Saraswati Thakur sent his first envoys to Europe via London, preached the message of Sri Chaitanya. Bhakti Hridayaban Maharaj and Bhakti Pradeep Tirtha Maharaj set sail from Bombay with the blessings of Saraswati Thakur to preach and propagate Krishna consciousness in the West. They were armed with the blessings of the Bhagavad Sampradaya and the book Sri Krishna Chaitanya by Professor Nishikant Sanyal. In London, Saraswati Thakur's preachers held programs at Albert Hall and met with British royalty, such as King George V and Queen Mary. They also met with the Archbishop of Canterbury and the distinguished Lord Zeppelin. Travelling to Germany, Saraswati Thakur's preachers met with Reich Chancellor Adolf Hitler and his ministers such as Herr Joseph Goebbels. Sri Chaitanya's teachings of divine love were preached to all these men, and to each was given a copy of the book Sri Krishna Chaitanya. Although these men were given the chance to embrace the teachings of Sri Chaitanya, they did not avail themselves the opportunity, and by the next decade they were dragged by the power of Maya into the hell known as World War II.
You understood, no?
Meanwhile,
Actually,
in India,
his
Saraswati
disciples took the message to Germany, and Hitler and his fellows had a chance to accept the path of love, but they didn't accept. Rather, they killed, 10 million Jews by putting them in gas chambers, and that caused the World War II. He's saying. So you can see Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur had a vision to even reach out to such cruel-hearted fellows in Germany and London and other places. He sent books.
and his disciples preached the Sankirtan movement for the benefit of humanity at large. In August of 1933, a grand festival was held at Sri Chaitanya Mat in Mayapur, and all the Gaudiya Mat preachers from around India attended. In this rare silent film footage, Saraswati Thakur is seen delivering a lecture from Srimad Bhagavatam, extolling the principles of pure devotional service. Saraswati Thakur stressed that a life of service and sacrifice for Krishna is the root cause of spiritual advancement. To all who attended his lectures, he bestowed the blessing of Mahaprabhu and Krishna. In 1934, the construction of the Adbhut Mandir at Yogapit in Mayapur began. While digging the foundation for the temple, a deity of Adokshita Vishnu was unearthed. The eminent archaeologist Sri Ram Prasad Chanda ascertained the age of the Adokshita Vishnu deity to be that of the era of Sri Chaitanya. Thus, it was determined that the Adokshita Vishnu deity was the household deity of Jagannath Mishra and Sachi Mata, the parents of Sri Chaitanya, further confirming the site as the birthplace of the Supreme Lord.
You understood, no?
The next year,
when they were digging the ground for constructing a building, they got Adokshita Vishnu, which is mentioned that the Adokshita Vishnu is the deity which was worshipped by Jagannath Mishra and Sachi Mata. So that further confirmed that the place was actually birthplace of Lord Chaitanya.
It was completed due to the magnanimous contributions of Sri Sakhicharan Bhakti Vijay, who bore the entire expense of the temple. The grand opening was held on Gaur Purnima in 1935 and was attended by thousands of devotees and pilgrims who performed loud Krishna Sankirtan. The festival was also attended by the king Maharaja Bir Bikram Kishore Dev Bahadur of Tripura state. The Maharaja commented that he was pleased to see the developments of Sri Chaitanya's birthplace. With the opening of the skyscraper temple at Yogapit, it was concluded by all that Saraswati Thakur had indeed fulfilled the vision of Bhaktivinoda Thakur by building the Adbhut Mandir. Sir John Anderson, governor of Bengal, then visited Mayapur by personal invitation and presented an official proclamation that Yogapit in Mayapur was the authentic birth site of Sri Chaitanya. News of this came as the death blow to the Sahaja and Kasparama communities of Navadvipa. In September of 1935, Bhakti Hriday Ban Maharaj returned from preaching in Europe and was greeted with a grand reception in Howrah Station in Calcutta. With Ban Maharaj were two German scholars, Baron von Goethe and Herr Ernst Schulze. In due course, Ernst Schulze fully embraced Gaudiya Vaishnavism and became Sadanandadas, an initiated disciple of Saraswati Thakur. Saraswati Thakur was happy upon the return of his preachers from Europe, but still remained anxious that someday strong preachers should become permanently established in Western countries. In October 1936, Saraswati Thakur went to Jagannath Puri, where he began to manifest the pastimes of his departure from this world. In Puri, he stayed at Chattograparva and preached vigorously to his disciples and visitors. During one confidential discourse, he mentioned that we will not live in this world very long, and that if we can die while continuously doing Krishna Kirtan, then our birth will have been successful. We are only carriers of the message of Sri Chaitanya. In December, Saraswati Thakur returned to Calcutta and stayed at Bagbazar Gaudiya Math. It was here that he gave his last instructions to his disciples. Always preach the message of Sri Rupa Raghunath, the followers of Sri Chaitanya. Our only desire is to become the dust at the feet of the followers of Sri Rupa Raghunath. While staying at Bagbazar Gaudiya Math on January the 1st, 1937, at 5:30 a.m., Saraswati Thakur, who had descended to this world from the personal entourage of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, concluded his earthly pastimes and returned to the abode of the Supreme Lord. Much to the wonder of everyone, all the clocks of the math stopped at exactly that moment. Arrangements were then made to take Saraswati Thakur's body to Mayapur by train, where he was placed in Samadhi. Along the way, thousands of people gathered to pay their respects to this great personality who had boldly preached the message of Sri Chaitanya for the benefit of all.
A special train from Calcutta to Krishnanagar was arranged, and from Bagbazar Math we carried his holy body to Srila station. From there, there's a special train to Krishnanagar. From there, on the roof of a bus, into this Saruganja Ghat. From there, we could, but after it was read,
The Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, his mission, the Gaudiya Math, suffered a severe setback when three of his important disciples deviated from the principles of pure devotional service. This created quite a disturbance.
So, when Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur, after he disappeared, he had told his disciples that, if you to run a worldwide organization, you need to form a GBC, Governing Body Commissioners, which they had not formed. So after his disappearance, the 64 matas were run by 64 leaders. They all had different people had taken. But our Prabhupada, Yesi Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, spoke in one of the Vyas Puja celebrations of Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur that our Guru Maharaj wanted us to form a GBC so that we all remain united. Like if you put a bundle of sticks together, nobody can break it. But if you separate them individually, they all get easily, they can be broken. But somehow there was some tussles between them. And then not only that, Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur actually had vigorously preached, as you all saw that. So the preaching mission slightly went to the background, and then people started doing more bhajan and remaining within the four walls and doing more chanting and more bhajan and not going out and printing books and distributing books, not doing Harinam Sankirtan. Gradually, the speed of the movement reduced because the leader disappeared from their midst. So when our Srila Prabhupada was Abhay Babu, who became initiated by Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur as A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami. So he, in 1936, 3 weeks before Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur disappeared from the planet, at the time, our Prabhupada wrote a letter to him asking, Guru Maharaj, You have so many sannyasi disciples, so many brahmacharis, they are all doing so much work. I am only a grihastha, I have 5 sons and everything. So how can I serve you? Can you please give me some instruction? And the same instruction he replied back. He said, you are, you are an intelligent boy. If you spread the message of Lord Chaitanya in English language in the Western world, that will do great good to you and it will do great good to the world. Huh? And now Prabhupada was amazed. This he told me in the first meeting, and later on, second time he told. This is the third time he's telling. So he said, this is confirmation. At any cost, I have to give shape to this. So then our Prabhupada spent lifetime in preparation of everything. And then 1965, he's set on his journey to America. And then he propagated after that. So I have summarized the Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur's teachings in one slide. I'll just show you. Very simply, you can see this. One of you read it? Who has the mic with you?
Don't try to become enjoyer, become servant of Krishna.
Read further.
We are not meant to enjoy Krishna. We are meant to be enjoyed by Krishna.
Like watering the root of a tree. You know, if you water the root of the tree, the whole tree is nourished. Similarly, the hand should not try to enjoy the laddu. You should give it to the stomach. Similarly, you get happiness by serving Krishna, not that you yourself try to become enjoyer. Okay, and then?
Topmost way of serving Krishna is to serve his devotees.
Lord Shiva also says, Aradhana nam sarvesham Vishnoraradhanam param tasmat parataram devi tadiyanam samarchanam. He says that best worship is Vishnu worship, but better than Vishnu worship is to serve his devotees. Yes. Just like we say, water the root of the tree, whole tree will be nourished. But do you take a tree out and water the root? You water the root of the tree through the sand. The sand is the devotees. Because the sand is gripping the root. Similarly, devotees are embracing Krishna's lotus feet to their hearts. If you serve them, then Krishna is pleased. Then your service goes to Krishna through the devotees. Yeah. So, next one.
Do not try to see Krishna. Serve him in such a way that he will want to see you.
Yeah. Like for example, if a boy in 6th or 7th standard was very eager to see his principal, but teacher would never allow. But in 10th standard, the boy got state first. Then the principal asked, who is that boy in my school who got state first? Call him to my room. Then he got a chance to see the principal directly. Because he did work in such a way that the principal wanted to see him. Similarly, there was one Anna Hazare in those days in India, correct, no? Anna Hazare was anti-corruption movement he started. So he became very popular. Very soon the leaders of the country wanted to meet him. Because he was trying to do some good to the country, leaders want to meet him. Similarly, imagine somebody is doing serious devotion service, then Lord will want to see you. Hey, who is this fellow Dhruva? So he's standing in the forest in one leg. This 5-year-old boy is doing severe devotion service. I'll go and see him. So Lord took his Garuda bird carrier and came flying to see Dhruva. Correct, no? Similarly, in NDD voice, you do such a serious devotion service, Krishna has to come running to see you. Who is this boy who is so serious? Correct, no, ma'am? Isn't it? So serve the Lord in such a way that Lord will want to come and see you. Yeah. See, a rich landlord was ready to pay any amount to see sun during night. Is it possible? You cannot see. Ravana knew scriptures, but he became a demon because he never followed the scripture, although he knew it. Yeah. See, one time Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur went to Mayapur. There was one temple where Sanctum Sanctorum was deep inside. Disciples said, Swamiji, they are calling you inside the temple. You can go near and take darshan of deity. Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur said, no need. Why? Because although we cannot see the Lord, Lord is seeing us. That's good enough. He said. So, Lord is the drashta, or the real seer. Even if you can't see his darshan, like in Maharashtra, you will see lot of poor people, Varkaris, they go by walking to Pandharpur and Palki. Of the fan. They go in Palki, walking a long distance. Although several days they walk. Every day 20 kilometers they walk. When they go to Pandharpur, there are lakhs of people there. So many of them cannot even enter the temple also. Just see the Gopuram with arms folded like this. hey Pandinatha, Panduranga, and they do namaskar on the ground and they go back. Huh? Can you imagine? They have full faith that, even though I have not gone inside the temple to see the Lord with my eyes, Lord has seen me. I have given attendance to Him, I am going back. Just see their heart. Yeah. Okay, read this one.
Krishna is beyond our understanding. We need just to serve him under the guidance of bona fide guru and remain fixed in service. This attitude of humble service is life of Krishna consciousness. Only through Vaishnava Seva one can attract Krishna.
Yeah. So Prabhupada was saying, similarly, everybody has to do his service. Like there was one watchman, and the company CEO will come in the car. He has to do only one thing, just open the door and allow the car. And what the boss does in the company, that he can't understand. That is beyond his head, correct, no? But if he does his job well, just open the door, boss is happy with him. Similarly, you are given a service, do the service, and Lord is happy with you. You don't have to know how the Lord is running the millions of universes. That you don't have to break your head to know. Be a good servant. So in this way, he also was a very great propounder of humility. Yeah, read that.
I feel like a wretched sinful dog sitting on Vyasasan, Vyasa Puja day. You are all my Prabhus. Radharani and my spiritual master have sent me as a representative to train you and teach you how to love God.
Like that he spoke on Vyasa Puja day. He's such a great exalted soul. He says, I am like a sinful dog sitting on Vyasas. And he said, he was so utterly humble. Yeah. Yeah, ant gets little sugar and becomes intoxicated. Man gets some little money and gets puffed up. But the Brahmanas, no salary, no accumulation, no opulence, voluntary poverty to become puffed up. Chanakya says this. And Chanakya says that. So that means, one who is a devotee should not bother about accumulating material goods. You should be satisfied in devotional service. That's the point. See, chanting lakhs of names will not give pleasure to Krishna. But anybody chants the names with humble service attitude, that will please Krishna. Like we say, Trinadapi. So he wrote an essay, How to Become More Humble Than a Blade of Grass. He wrote that. So in preaching, he said that even if nobody comes, just preach to the walls, 4 walls. Like that he said. So in this way, so I also emphasize to all disciples, keep love and trust in the center of your life. Yeah. And his last instruction is here, you see. Following the footsteps of Rupa and Raghunath Goswamis. Always aspire for only one thing, service to Supreme Lord and his
devotees.
Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur ki, Srila Prabhupada ki, और Bhakta Vrinda ki. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.